Fifth grade, getting ready for sixth grade, lesson 6, fractions, decimals, and percents. Every percent and decimal number can also be written as a fraction. All fractions can be written as decimals and percents. For example, 2/5 of the songs in Bonnie's music collection are country songs. What percent of her song collection is country? Write the percent that is equivalent to 2/5. So first of all, you have to set up a problem. And so we know out of percentages that 100 is what the denominator is, right? Or what it's out of. So they need to get 2/5 to something with a denominator of 100. So they know to get from 5 to 100, you have to multiply by 20. And what you do on the bottom, you also have to do on the top. So 2 times 20 is 40. So then they said 2/5 is also equal to 40 hundredths. And then, of course, 40 hundredths is also equal to 40%. More examples. They want 8/25 written as a decimal. So once again, they have to get a denominator of 100. And they know to get from 25 to 100, you have to multiply by 4. And then what you do on the bottom, you also do on the top. So 8 times 4 is 32. So then they got 8/25 also equals 32 hundredths. So then they wrote 32 hundredths in decimal form as 0.32. Letter B, write 90% as a fraction in simplest form. So they took 90% and they said that is equal to 90 over 100, but it can be simplified or reduced. And they said that 10 goes into both 90 and 100. So they took 90 divided by 10, and what they do on the top, they also have to do on the bottom. So 100 divided by 10, and they got 9/10. Share and show. Complete the steps to write 7/20 as a percent. By what factor should you multiply the denominator and the numerator? So what should we take 20 times to get to 100? What times 20 get to 100? 5, right? So then what we would do on the bottom, we would also do on the top. So we would take it times 5 here, and we would take it times 5 here. So for 7/20, what is an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100? So we said 20 times 5 got us 100. 7 times 5 gets us
35.
So it would be 35 hundredths. What percent is equivalent to 7/20? So what would be the percent?
35%.
35%. Write a decimal, a percent, or a simplified fraction. So 1/4 as a decimal. So we have 1/4. We need to get it into a decimal, but we need to get an equivalent what first? Fraction, right? So what does our new denominator need to be? 100. So how do I get from 4 to 100? Times 25. So what I do on the bottom, I also do on the top. So 1 times 25 is 25. So how do I write that as a decimal? 0.25. It also says 25 hundredths. They want 3/10 as a percent. So we need to convert 3/10 into an equivalent fraction, right? With what is the denominator? 100. So we have 3/10 equals something over 100. How did I get from 10 to 100? Times 10. So what I do on the bottom, I also have to do on the top. So 3 times 10 is 30. So what is that as a percent? 30%. Now they want 80% as a fraction. So I need to say, how would I write 80% as a fraction? 80 over 100. Can I simplify?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now, could this be a 2-step simplified problem?
Yes.
Yes. Now, some of you might know already that those are both even numbers. So you already know that 2 goes into both of them. So technically you could take 20 into them, right? Or if we wanted to make it real easy, we see that there's a 0 on the top and there's a 0 on the bottom, right? So what could I do?
Take off the zeros.
Take off the zeros. You can just knock them right off, right? So that already gets us 8/10. Now, like I said, we could have done 20 into each one of them and done the same thing, right? But now we've already got a little bit more simplified to 8/10. So what goes into 8 and 10? 2. So I'm going to divide by 2 on the top. And what I do on the top, I also have to do on the bottom. So what does that give me? What's 8 divided by 2?
4.
So 4. And then what's 10 divided by 2? 5. So 4/5. Now technically, they wanted a fraction, which you got 80 hundredths, but you all know you have to simplify. You can't just leave it. All right, so you guys are going to do on your own with your partners, 7 through 18, and then we will check them. Problem solving. Whitney has finished 9/20 of her book. What percent of the book does Whitney still need to read? So what do we need to underline?
9/20.
So finish 9/20, right? What percent of the book does Whitney still need to read? So what is my work going to look like, guys? 9/20 equals what? I need to get in equivalent fraction, right? So what's on the bottom? 100. How did I get from 20 to 100?
Times 5.
Times 5. So what I do on the bottom, I also do on the top. So 9 times 5 is
45.
So my answer is
45%.
And is 45% correct?
No.
No. Why is 45% not correct? Because that's what she has read, and they want to know how much she still has to read, right? So what would my answer be? 55%. So make sure you read those questions very carefully, because yes, you found part of the answer, but they wanted to take it one more step past that. Okay? All right. Number 20, Roger has completed 4/25 of his math homework. What percent of his homework does he still need to do? So what do we need to do? So completed 4/25. What percent of his math homework does he still need to do? So let's go ahead and circle 4/25 because we're going to use that. What would be another keyword or a couple more keywords to do? We know that we need percent, right? And we know that we need the still part so that we remember that we're probably going to have to take it one more step past it, right? Okay, so what am I going to write?
4/25 times 4.
Well, equals, and then I need a common denominator of what? 100. So we're going to find an equivalent fraction, right? How did I get from 25 to 100?
Times 4.
Times 4. So what I do on the bottom, I also do on the top. So 4 times 4 is 16. And then that is how much of his homework he has done, right? And they want to know how much he still has to do. So what would be 100 minus 16?
84.
84. So he still has 84% left to do.